back again to the prequel to last week's video, because I got all excited and I released the first roll of the Audi way before all this other stuff I was going to show. So in actual fact, yeah, last week's probably a big spoiler for what I'm about to show you now, because you know what happens. So in this video is everything leading up to that day, which entailed the mountings, the fabrication of the mountings, the motor and the inverter and the junction box and all the wiring and all the DCU stuff and all that and all the excitement and all the lot of editing, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot of rubbish in there, which is like, did it work? No. There was a lot of clunks, clacks, and I left enough in there. Just, it was a tipping point to boredom and excitement. You know, I know it's a high level of excitement in this field, but I decided to just, you know, a lot ended up on the cutting room floor. So there might be, I don't know, a DVD extended version with the director's cut with voiceover or something later on, but yeah, we'll see. It's all saved anyway. So in this one, as I said, yeah, gonna go lead up all to that. And since then, like, I know I mentioned in the video that there was that limitation to the inverter, which prevented us from sort of giving it any more juice. So to get to a certain point, you throttle it and the inverter would shut down and go, nope. We subsequently discovered, throwing it up there in the forum to the community, that it seemed like that using the Prius pack, which was like in around 200 volts, it was suffering from voltage sag. So when I gave it power, current draw ramped up, the voltage dropped off below. I think the operating voltage for the Leaf inverter is about, I think it's 170, 180 volts, something like that. So it drops below that, gets an error, and it goes, no more. So on the back of that, it's a case of, right, we got to move ahead and get the leaf pack in. And that's what I've been doing the last week. Busy doing other stuff this week, but I've been fabricating up some new stuff to get the battery pack in here. So we're going to have 20 up front. There's 18 here at the moment. And keen-eyed ones are going to pause and go, that's not 20. Got 18 here at the moment. Another 2 there to go in. It's just when these all scrunch up, I've taken the measurement from the main rear pack, and I think it's 680mm edge to edge, bounced up. We have 20 in there, and we got 4 here. So we got 24 up front, 24 down the back. I will be getting a battery box made up for here. So they'll all sit into the battery box, sealed up with terminals either side. So eventually here's the whichever positive negative will go back to the rear box, through that, through a junction box, back up here. It'll come into this first 4, go through these first 4 modules, in here, pop out here, up, down, into this pack, and then into the high voltage junction box. So it'll be good, it'll be nice, and it'll be serviceable because nicely developed, because the slam panel here, when we want to, we can remove this and we can crane in and out the pack as we want. Slip this back in, also making sure that this doesn't impede us doing the normal menial tasks of changing out the light bulbs, because around here there's a lot of potholes and light bulbs like to go when the cars hit a lot of potholes. Yeah, so that will be it. If only we could fix some of those potholes, but you know, what you gotta do. So that's it. So we'll lead you on to the what's coming up now, and the prequel, and get your popcorn, and off you go. Okay, we've moved around the inverter many times, and I've pretty much decided on this configuration. It looks like a nice, you know, one of those Saab V4s, not V4s, or the old Audi 80s that had the engine cranked over 40 odd degrees. Yeah, so Yeah, it sits well in there. It also means that we can come straight out of motor up in here, 3 phases. Our water will be popping out of here and underneath as well. So, and then they can connect up to these 2 hoses here and radiator, whichever way it's going to go about. It also leaves us room to, I'm going to be able to do this with one hand, go like so. Oh, can't hold it. There we go. So that'll sit like that. And yeah, so at the moment I'm just doing a bit of mocking up some engine mounts. There's one, I had done one up there last night for the other side, and then a supporting frame on top for the inverter. So that's one going to be fairly handy. You can bolt in there, and then the other side can mount into the bell housing or the plate. On this side, the mounting plate comes across here and down, so I can build sort of again another bar across down to there. I'm not sure how I'm going to work that one, but I'll probably angle it down towards some of the bolt points down there on the plate. So that's what she looks like at the moment. Looks nice. Flexible and supportive 202 offers like P7 buttons from mounting number 2. Yeah, I know the welding's a bit grim, but hey, it's not bad. So 1, 2, 3 points plus that, and I gave it the extra bit of strength. Put a bit of box there, 2x2 box, and I did the same underneath. Woo, still a bit hot. There you go. That should give it plenty of strength. What do you think? So it goes straight back on there. Bolts up like that. Left room for the pipe, access the pipe, and the connector down there. I'll probably move that connector anyway. Well, actually I will now, because that other box there is blocking it, but it's no big hassle. Gonna bolt it up and see how it looks. Okay, another quick pit stop, whistle stop tour. We have the main mounts in there. As I said before, we've now got the top frame in, which is mounted 1, 2, 3, and then a cross beam there, 4. I've just put in these isolators here, just makes it handy to fit the box on, so that will sit on like so. And then the guts of it will go in like that. That's pretty much how it's going to sit in. The top on. So yeah, coming together nicely. Very happy with that. They're the 2 ends that are going to go into the inverter. Boop, boop, and they're in the junction box. Let's fit them, see what happens. inverter connected up to HV junction box. We've got our plus and minus, positive and negative in there. Run back underneath the car. Back underneath. Yeah, so this is just all test mock-up, like eventually the other batteries will be in here, but this is just for test. So get this all in and do a bit more. There goes my coffee. Today's the day, I hope. Putting in a lot of sort of long days. Added bonus time of spending a lot of hours getting this up to speed. So here we are. Let's see where we left it last night. More coffee on the ground. Lights. Hello. Okay. Here's where we left it. Let's just put you over here. So we've done all the mountings that I showed you earlier. So all the engine mountings done, left and right, and then yesterday, the last 2 days was pretty much then doing the frame that sits on top, which carries these two. So got some nice fixing points there. It's solid, it's not going anywhere. So that's all fixed onto, basically it all sits down onto the main the two main mountings in the engine bay. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's it carries everything really well. Yeah. So we've got everything wired up now. So obviously I had the 3-phase wiring using the OEM wiring going up into here. That's all bolted down. We then went and connected up the positive and negative terminals there. We made up 2 new cables, running them through into here, into the high voltage junction box there. There's your negative, there's your positive. Reused the old braiding from the original harness to rule out any interference or anything that created by the current increase there, especially to any of the signaling wire that's going to be going in. So they are coming through here. Main fuse, there's the shunt, that's our current monitor and everything else, battery monitor, the whole lot. There's our negative contactor, there's our positive, there is the pre-charge, there's a pre-charge resistor. Those two then come back around. The root of these is actually, it's just for test purposes, it's kind of just hanging around there. They eventually will go down there. The original route of the fuel lines is down there. But for now, it's just going down there, going underneath the car, and into the back here for now. I'm going to put the Prius pack in here, sit in here, connect it up temporarily like. I'm going to gonna bypass the 2 main contactors here because I'm going to use my own high voltage junction box. So that's that. What else were we gonna do? That's it that's for testing purposes. It's a case of getting the battery connected up, getting that all tidied away, and then we start running some signaling cables. We start running the CAN high and low back into the loom. We've got ground, we've got permanent 12 volts, we've got 12 volts ignition. Those connected up. Then come around here. We've now got the VCU sitting in here. There's the old ECU. Anyone want an old ECU? So we've got this, and then we just need to connect up our, let's have a look through here. We've got grounds, we've got our 12 volt permanent, and then we've got some throttle channel inputs, 1 and 2, 5 volts, and some CAN back and forth. So we're not far away from getting something done. I know you can see it there. It's probably a bit dark. Yeah, it is a bit dark. Yeah, can you see it there? That's the old hang on, let me get a torch. Where's the torch? Always losing the torch. Where are you? Somewhere funny. Somewhere not very funny. Ah, there it is. Yeah. So, in here then, you see, there. So that's where the old ECU used to be connected up. I've remapped all those wires, so I'm going to reuse those, some of those, to map into that. That's it. Not a lot left. Obviously this goes back down. This is the resolver. Back down to the bottom of the motor. Find a new route for that. And thinking about it this morning that I'm going to probably, if I have enough time, won't initially need it for the test run, but what I'll do is I'll plumb in some of the coolant system. So it's going to go into the inverter, in, out, and then through the motor, back out. And yeah, I'll put in a bit of plumbing, and because I still haven't got a radiator for it, but yeah, so let's get cracking on. What do we got? We got our pedal all connected up, cable going up and over underneath the dash, down to here, where all the action happens. So we've got a ground on pin 36 here, and we have a permanent live up at pin, I've forgotten what that is. What is it? 19. And then on pin 14 we've got switched ignition there. So at the moment, got that in. I'm just going to flick the ignition and ignition on. There we go. Everything lights up. Next step is we are going to, just consulting this, we're going to start getting the outputs connected up there. So, yep. Now, see, there's a thing here, right? So, technically this should be hardwired to permanent 12 volts, which is fine. I can do that here. But that just means that the board stays on all the time, which I don't think is it's meant to be like that. I mean, why would you have it on all the time? So that's why I've got it, rather than here it says it's going permanent to 12 volts. Actually, it's kind of coming off. It's coming after here, after the ignition. So I'm gonna have, like, I'll have you know, ignition. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be off after this point here, rather than coming straight from there. But they're both. This comes from the ignition. There's already a fuse in there. It's 20 amp fuse, so it's all built in. So that's what you have. Before here, it goes back up into the main loom, through 20 amp into the ignition. I'm also going to put in a cutoff there, emergency cutoff, panic button. So, and that'll help anything imploding. So let's get more stuff connected up. Progress. So we've got the inverter connected up back down into the footwell where the VCU is. Your can high, can low, your ground, your 12 volts, switch 12 volts here. Then we move on to the junction box. We've got output 1, which is pre-charge, output 2, which is main, which goes in, and they plug into their relevant bits and pieces. So we've also got the positive, negative, all the 12 volts feeds coming in here. That's the pre-charge and negative, and that's the main for the positive contactor. So that's all that done. So I'm just labeling down what sort of, because this goes back to the original airflow cable, which goes back down into the old ECU location. So I've got those connected up. Just going to note those colors. get those connected up to the board. And next up, so we've got pedal done, we've got negative plus 12 volts. Now we've got pre-charge, we've got main. We just need to do the input one. Oh, I've done that already. And the inverter 12 volts, and that should be it. Or can we delete that? I think we can delete that. Yeah, no, we can leave that off at the moment actually. So we're very close to just sparking this up. Just the junction box, seeing if everything clicks properly. Okay. A lot of wiring. That's not much. So all that's left to do is turn the ignition and see if there's any clicking and clacking. Now we haven't got the battery connected up yet. This is purely just to hear if everything is going in sequence, if the VCU is powering up and clicking the contactors. It'll click the pre-charge and negative. That's it for now, because the VCU will be looking for that increase in voltage before it clicks the main one. So we should hear pre-charge and negative. See what happens. That's a positive. Okay, time has come. A few checks here. That's all connected up. That's all getting powered up. The ignition goes on. Everything's cabled up and down there. So we've got the contactors and everything working. Clickety clack. Last thing to do is take the battery here, rig it up, and open up the contactors, send the juice down, and let's see what happens. So we're going to send the 209 volts down there. So I'll show you here. See, we have across there. We have, oh yeah, sorry. As usual, safety disconnect in. That is in now. We're going to go connect that. We have, oops, so I set the value, 209 volts, as we always have had. So let's go, that's on. That's sending our 209 down here to this side. Look down there. So negative, positive, there and there is 209 coming in there. All that's left to do is turn on the ignition, press the pedal, see what blows up. Okay, so out of here. One, two, three. We heard 3 contactors, so I'm going to press the pedal now. Okay. We have movement. Just going to put this in gear. I hear something turning. Let's go down and have a look. That's a result. That's brilliant. What I need to do now is reconnect up the power steering, throw in some gearbox oil, never filled it up, and let's see if it rolls. Yeah, so that's her. So that's how we got there. In the end, right after that spinning of the wheel right here, this wheel here, we then, what did we do? We tidied up a few bits and pieces and we got rolling, and we know the results of that. So there was delight, much merriment, spraying of champagne, sparkling wine. And so next up this week, today is Saturday, next week I'm going to do some sort of, if I can get a battery box in, I'll get a battery box in. If not, as a temporary build, I'll get all these put together. I've got my threaded bar ready to go to get all these together, and we will rig something up. And safely, of course. What I need to do is do the plumbing as well. I've got my eye on a little radiator. Looked at a couple of the videos of other builds. I've had a couple of ideas about what I'm going to do with the plumbing, and there's still plenty of room. Also been looking at the DC converter that came out of the charger pack deck out of this, and I figured out how to get this working. So I have a look at doing this. This will give me, this basically gives me, you've got your full 380 volts, but you need like an alternator. The alternator is gone from the car now. You need something to charge up the 12 volt battery here to keep all the systems running. This is what this does. Takes in the high voltage in here, does lots of genius work, magic happens, and then 12 volts comes out the other side. So I figured out what is what with that. So I just want to get running on the bench. Once I get the pack actually up and running, plug it in, see if I can get it running. And then that's good, because then I don't have to keep charging that at the end of the day on here. Yeah, so come back in a week's time or so when we'll have a bit more work done, and hopefully be able to take it over 15 kilometers an hour.